Joseph Bowens, welcome to Bridging the Divide. We appreciate your time. Let's talk about the name of the organization is LACE. Tell us what that stands for, and then give us your title and your affiliation with it.
Yeah, so LACE stands for Louisville Association for Community Economics. LACE is an umbrella to create opportunity for various community needs, and we produce cooperatives, and cooperatives are functioned by the community. I am one of the two co-executive directors. The other co-executive director is Tiffany Michelle Brown.
Let's talk about how long LACE has been around and how you got started. And then we're going to talk about the specific need of food deserts that you all are trying to address.
Yes, so I'll break that down into each question that you said. Yeah, so we got started we was organized in first of 2016, headed by Casa Heron, and we became established in 2017. 2019, we became incorporated into part of the International Cooperative Alliance. And the need came about from Casa and a few other people seeing the food desert in the downtown Louisville communities, specifically when the Kroger exit near Breckenridge, 2nd Street, when they exit. And so her and a few other people brainstormed, and they came out with the benefit of the cooperative and how that would be a benefit, because the cooperative is owned by the community. So therefore it would know the need of why the life matters, the life of the grocery store matters.
We're going to get to the cooperative and the structure of that and how that works in just a second. But let's just talk about the food desert. So and part of that is you all trying to end food deserts one neighborhood at a time. Where do we see the most need? And explain exactly what a food desert is, just in case somebody doesn't know.
So a food desert is when a neighborhood is at least a half a mile away from a full grocer. And so anything greater than that amount is a food desert. And so food deserts overlap with the issues of food insecurities. And those overlapping issues are contributed by income, employment, and transportation. And so all those things are disproportionately found in high poverty areas. And so that's the reason that we want to focus on our first project being the cooperative grocery store.
So you all have a big announcement coming up in mid-June, and that's going to be a specific address where you all are going to start setting up this grocery store. What can you tell us about the location?
So, well, just to elaborate a little bit more about it. So about 13% of the nation is in a food desert. That percentage is even greater in the downtown Louisville community, which is why we've been focusing on that. If you look at, I believe it was Community Farm Alliance here locally, they did a study that ranges from starting at the downtown East End to the end of downtown West End, which is a 3-mile distance. There's a total of 24 fast food restaurants. So you only have to travel a little bit over one tenth of a mile to go one to the other. And so we know that builds on unhealthy lifestyle and unhealthy food intake. And so that's why we want to build the grocery store, to promote an overhaul of change in lifestyle, to promote healthy food intake, especially for fruits and vegetables.
Right, because we were talking about access, obviously, but like you said, the outcomes with that and not being able to have those healthy choices, it's just immense on the health of people. So let's talk about, though, this with LACE, with the cooperative and what that means exactly. So this grocery store will not be a typical grocery store that we might go into. Tell us about the co-op, and part of that is to empower the neighborhood as well. Is it to be able to help control their own outcomes?
Yes, yes, all that you said is correct. So co-ops bring new jobs, they establish social development, which is my heart. They also develop that community as well. So co-ops, typically what you see with corporations that come into a community, those profits are extracted and they're dispersed outside of that community as well. Co-ops will keep the profits inside the local community. It will build jobs, can improve the assets within the business. It will also help other local businesses by circulating the dollar within that community. And then it can be contributed to other organizations or just other avenues that will enhance the well-being and the construction of a community, such as sports teams. It can sponsor sports teams or even build playgrounds. We know the children loves playgrounds.
Well, let's get to the brass tacks of how it works. So when you say a co-op, then that is going to be, does that mean it is run by a group of people, a co-op, and who chooses those people? And then who chooses the workers and who brings in the food? So it's like, to kind of give us the overlay of how all of that works.
Yes, yes, excellent question. So co-ops, they are one owner, which one member, one vote. They are owned by the people in the community. Of course, when we have been doing our setups, other people who have been listening to our initiative. They're like, oh yes, I will support you all. And of course, some of them are not in the areas that we have been focusing on. However, we have been hyper focused on making sure that majority of our owners are in the communities that we've been looking at. Because
So you have the people already interested. That's the groundwork that's been laid, that you've already done the homework. You know, you have the people, you know, you have the interest, the willpower. Then, so you will hire within the community. You will
Correct.
have,
So
they
one of
will
the
own it.
things, yeah. So one of the things that in regards of creating a co-op, it's just not us, twiddling our thumbs, scratching our head, coming up with, as I mentioned, that we've been in a part of the International Cooperative Alliance since 2019. There are 7 principles that govern cooperatives that are part of the alliance, and to make sure that we do things correctly. And there's an organization step, then there's a feasibility step, and then within that feasibility step is what I was mentioning about is the need. Does the community want a cooperative grocery store? What is the market that we're looking for? Can it handle what type of personal development would be classes or would need to be offered so that the success of the cooperative can be maintained? The cooperatives, there's a study from 2009 to 2020 that shows that 61% of cooperatives are still open. So we know that this is successful. And so we've looked at 3 different cooperatives that have a similar market and a similar market and have a similar structure as us, because we
So
have
these would be
nonprofit.
like similar grocery stores in other cities that you've kind of looked to them to go, okay,
Yes.
here's how they did it. And here's why we think it will also work for us.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. And that's Gem City in Dayton, Ohio. Then you have South Philly Food Co-op in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then you have North Flint Food Market in Flint, Michigan.
All
And
right.
so, yeah. So this is successful. But going back to that, we have the organizing period, which took place for us between 2016 to 2018. Then you had the feasibility, looking at reviewing the market and everything, and how the community would accept this. That took place between 2018 through 2020. Then you had the planning that took place. I apologize. The planning took place between 2018 through 2020. And then you had, we're executing the plan right now, 2021. I've been saying 2001, 2021.
Because of COVID, right? All the years are blending together.
Exactly. And that's what actually what I've been telling people too, is just that because people have been like, oh man, what's taking so long with the grocery store? Cooperatives are different from a corporation. A corporation grocery store typically takes about 5 months for it to be built. But this is all within the community. This is all people who see the need. While while a corporation is looking to make money, and of course they have the wealth and the finance behind them to do that, a cooperative is looking to build up a community. It is looking to empower the community. Is looking to develop the community. And so we're doing that. That is something that as we grow, that is something that we also make sure we are analyzing and making sure that we maintain that mold of cooperation, which is one of the 7 principles, is because if you do not have, we have the word cooperative, if you do not have cooperation among the members, it will not succeed. So as we've been growing and as we've been executing in this process, we've been making sure that we've been having the communication and building up and having strategies to build up communication and an engagement with our existing owners, new owners, and board members and everyone in the community.
So some of that hierarchy's already been set.
Correct.
Okay, so then tell us about where the food comes from. How does that work? The product that will be in the store.
Yeah, so there's AWG. There are a list of, this is like about 4 that I know of cooperative grocers. There are producers that will be able to stock the grocery store. AWG is one of the ones that we've been in contact with and to do ours.
And one thing that I was unaware of, I said, give me an example of something other than a grocery store of a cooperative. And you named a business that I didn't know was a cooperative. Tell us that.
Yeah, so there are different types of cooperatives. And one of the ones that I've mentioned to you was Ace Hardware. People don't know that Ace Hardware is a cooperative.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then other people, some people are familiar with a credit union being a cooperative, and as they tell you that, you own the cooperative and of the credit union. Well, that's what we're looking to establish with the grocery store. One of the things that that I remember, there is a Jay-Z rap lyric where he said, "My mom bought me a Bonds that was my fondest memory of all time." And that's what we want to duplicate and mirror for the community when we built the grocery store. And as we have been building with the community, is that when you get an ownership, you think about your children and and explain it to your child, you are owner of this grocery store. They take that pride into that. And so, yeah, that's what we want to have.
Well, and also I have to believe that when you feel like you have been excluded over and over, to feel this power of taking it into your own hands and to, I have to believe there is something inherent with that, with the empowerment that we did it ourselves. We can't count on others to come in and help take care of us. We've got to figure this out if they're excluding us, correct?
Correct. So co-ops, it instills that confidence of self. So instead of people looking outside of themselves, they're looking at their hands and saying, I am resourceful. And that's what we've been instilling in people, because as you mentioned about things of, there's something that is called deprivation amplification. And so basically what that means is it postulates that socially disadvantaged people are exposed to further structural deprivation by their residential environment, which then amplifies social inequalities. And a lot of people are seeing just about how the poverty cycle contributes even to this food desert and income. And so this cooperative is doing, it's multi-factored into the way that it is going to not only empower the people, but it's going to develop them socially. It's going to build up the economy. And that's something that I'm truly focusing on as one of the co-executive directors and the project manager for the store, is that how it's going to benefit the economy in regards of employment, turn around unemployment, turn around giving people better pride in themselves, that they'll look to better themselves, as I mentioned, to look at their own hands to see that themselves are resourceful. It's getting people to know their gifts. There is a man he created, he's the founder of microfinancing. His name is Muhammad Yunus. He said, poverty is not created by people, rather by the circumstances. Change their circumstances and poverty will disappear. And so that's what we're looking to do.
I love that. Tell me how the public, people outside of the community, is there anything that we can put the word out on this to say, here's how you can support us. Here's what you can do to help us. Anything at all?
Yes, I meant to send you those links before we started.
Well, I'll put them, I'll include them. So make sure that you get me that, because
Yeah.
there are always people who will go, what can I do? And I want to empower other people who want to help in some way. So tell me personally what this means to you. And then I have just one more question.
Yes, yes. So for me personally, I mean, we're looking at, like I said, the downtown Louisville communities. Right now, even in the West End, specifically in the West End, there's one grocer per 25,000 residents. That is double the amount in the Jefferson County that's been calculated in Jefferson County as a total. We've been looking at, as I mentioned, that one of the issues is transportation. I want to highlight this woman that I met. We recently got a new office, and I met one of the ladies that worked in the office, and she was familiar with the term food desert. So that perked my ears up because not too many people know that term. And so she began to tell me this, and I want to share it. She said that her mother asked her, did she want to be placed in Our Lady of Peace for a short term? And the reason why was because she was the responsibility of transporting people in her neighborhood to a grocery store fell upon her, not something that she was placed on, their responsibility was placed on her shoulders, by a vote of people in the neighborhood. She saw the need and she did it, but it burdened her, not because of the people's demand, but rather because of the hurt and the emotional that she felt. And these are real people. And so placing a grocery store and people that they don't have to necessarily travel, because the crazy numbers is 30% of residents in the West End do not have reliable transportation. 50% of residents in downtown East End do not have reliable transportation. So placing a grocery store there is going to be,
Life changing.
yes, life
And
changing.
no one should have to struggle that much to get healthy food, period. And
Exactly.
so bringing attention to that in the food deserts, because there are many in our town. So so June 15th, we need to keep our ears open. You're going to tell us where it's going to go. We're going to link people to information if they want to help. And I love this idea of empowerment and the fact that you all have been doing the work, you've been doing the investment, and you've been doing the legwork and groundwork to get us to this point.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
most definitely. Most people, and a big shout out to Casa Heron and in all the organizing group, those who have moved on and those who are still with us. The community appreciates you. I appreciate you, and I know my partner, the other co-executive director, Tiffany Michelle, she appreciates you because they got us here to this moment.
That vision.
Tiffany Michelle and I, we're just bringing it home. It's like
That's important too, though.
yeah, it is. It is. I look at it as I love baseball and I love basketball, and in both of those two sports, you can acquire a teammate in the middle of the season. And so, you can have a great team who have a somewhat winning season, but you have someone that comes in and they'll take it home for you to either win the pennant or for you to win the championship. And Tiffany and I are going to do that, but we want to make sure that people know that, hey, this was a great team before we got on. So yeah, we just
You
want to make sure
absolutely did that with your shout out to everyone. And listen, congratulations. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yes, it's great. It's great. And I just want to make sure people know that, the cooperative, that's one thing I do want to say. I want to say two things. One of them is that, and I know that the desk that I'm on has been wiggly, so I apologize.
You're good.
The The first thing is I want to say is that we want to make the community aware that the cooperative is going to be a social change, not a cultural change, because most people in the neighborhoods that I've been saying that we've been looking into are predominantly Black neighborhoods. And, there's 79% of residents in the West End are Black or African descent. 68% of residents in downtown Louisville, East End, 68% is 68% of the residents in downtown Louisville East End are Black or African descent. And so we're focusing on them. And so they're looking at us like, cooperative, what is that? And, it's cooperatives have been around for a while in the Black community. So we just want to empower people to know that, because as I mentioned, and as we've been saying about the empowerment that it gives, if you look at the identity of Black Americans, their identity, most people say they don't have an identity, but the identity that we have is perseverance and self-sustainability. And so cooperatives is going to transition the self-sustainability aspect to being proactive, because you no longer have to worry about employment in your neighborhood if you got one down the street. You never have to worry about fruits and vegetables and having that in your home, and especially not at a large price as the convenience store has if you got one down the street. And so, that's the benefit of having a cooperative. And I just cannot let it go, because I was in dire need to have an area to shoot this in, because we're transitioning office, and our old office had some issues yesterday. And so I wanted to thank Mr. Lamont Collins out there, because he gave me—
He's a good guy.
Oh my goodness. I called, and I was able to get an area and solidified this area that I'm in right now in a matter of moments. So I thank you, Lamont Collins.
Well, a shout out to Lamont and a shout out to you and all the good work. And we wish you the very best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.